Hi guys and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing King's Bounty 2. I'm also going to be giving my very first impressions of the long-awaited sequel from the original King's Bounty many years ago. Quick thank you as well to the guys over at Koch Media and the Game Ambassador program, because without you guys giving me this code and allowing me a chance to play it, this video would not be possible without your support. So without further ado, let's check it out and let's give you my first impressions. So first and foremost, when you're starting the game, you're going to be given a selection of 3 characters from Ava, the Warrior, Catherine the Mage, and Eliza the Paladin. Now each of the 3 characters have their own personalities, own skill sets, and are both significantly different from each other. From maybe one of them having a sarcastic approach to one having a more serious vibe. And it always leaves you wondering, what would the other character have said if I'd chosen a little bit different? Ultimately for me, I went for the Warrior and I went for Ava. So to start off King's Bounty 2, the story is relatively simple. Darkness will descend over the world of Nostria, and apparently you are the person to solve it all. Now you've been in prison for a long time, and ultimately something has occurred and the prince believes that you are the man to sort things out. This gets explained a little bit further on in the game, but I probably don't really want to spoil it because story-wise it's always good to learn things yourself. But as far as the story goes, it was hastily getting you involved in the action from the get-go, which I really enjoyed. Someone who doesn't get much chances to sit back and enjoy games nowadays, since I make so much content for bike games, it was a nice change to just literally get on with it and start moving. Now some people are going to prefer the build-up to the action, but for myself, I rather enjoyed the quick start and just, here's how you do it, here's your things, this is the basic story, get out there and explore it, and then let the story unravel as you go. Now of course King's Bounty 2 is an open world RPG turn-based combat game, but I really like the way they blend the third-person perspective as a normal RPG game and then bring on the elements of the turn-based combat when approached or when fighting specific enemies. So having a look at the combat, this is where you're going to spend a lot of your time, because of course combat is very important in King's Bounty 2. There's going to be a lot of attacking and a lot of defending to learn, but ultimately it was still rather basic. The combat was basic enough for someone like myself to just jump on and learn it from the get-go. There was a few parts where I had a little bit of difficulty learning how to try and cast spells, or maybe try and keep my units alive rather than just sending them in just to constantly, continuously attacking. But there was a great satisfaction of winning some of these battles, because it does feel kind of out of your hand when your opponents start chucking in some crazy moves. Turn-based games are not my forte in any way, shape or form, but I rather enjoyed the approach to the combat in this one. It was very simple, easy for me to pick up and play, and somewhat stressful. There was a few points where I really wanted my guys to defend or just to hang in there as much as possible, and then unfortunately the enemy would cast something ridiculous I've never seen before, and ultimately my squad was wiped out. But one thing I will say is a little bit disappointed is I never felt any connection to any of my squad members. I kind of liked this little dwarf fella because he was so good, and when he died I was a bit bummed out by it, but then I realised I could just get another one. And then there was no sort of feeling towards that previous dwarf because I've just got a new one. So I think it would have been nice to have either names on the squad members or to kind of get to know them and develop a bit of repartee or some sort of rapport. Although it didn't really happen in the game, and I just continued to head back over to the recruiter, click a new recruit, and I never even thought about him ever again. It's just something I kind of would have liked in it, but unfortunately the game didn't have it. The world has a lot of character, one thing I will definitely give King's Bounty 2. I've read in the comments that people felt it was a bit flat. I really love the way it looks. I like how the character will speak to themselves when something is happening to try and work things out. It did give it a bit of personality, but some of it just felt a little bit flat. The world does feel sort of empty, but the game does give you a wonderful sense of achievement and reward for exploration. If you just go to the main objectives and don't really go anywhere exploring, you'll get nothing in return. But by going round and going to some of the more beautiful locations in the game, because some of the locations are really nice looking. There's some special places, even some spots where you want to just stand there and have a little bit of a look around. Even if it's just gazing at the sun or gazing at the wonderful sort of architecture of this dungeon that we're in, for example. Now, as this is an open-world RPG game, there is RPG elements from finding different quests and choosing how you want to do your business. Now, one of these particular quests that I'm in right now requires a little bit of problem-solving, a little bit of a puzzle work, but the puzzle was rather basic. Now, it was basic in the sense of us literally picking up this magic crystal and just chucking it in a particular spot dedicated to the crystal. Now, the puzzles weren't exactly taxing on the brain or the mind, but at the very same time, I guess it doesn't really need to because it's keeping the flow of the game. There possibly will be more in-depth puzzles, but for the ones I've tackled briefly in my brief amount of time of playing, we're very basic at best, but still compelling enough to continue to play and to continue to want to learn the secrets of what this potential secret could be hiding.
A little cold. Can't get me down.
Now, there are a few areas in the game that don't really feel lived in. They feel like there's people there, but they feel like placeholders sometimes, such as one person standing in the exact same spot waiting for you to approach them to talk, and others just having scripted events that will only do very basic things. Now, speaking to the people that you can actually speak to is a pleasure. There is some nice voice acting and there's some good conversations to be had, and some opportunities even give you a chance of making a little bit of a decision for either attacking someone, or either getting involved or not getting involved at all, or maybe going that extra mile to help someone out. Now, that gives you a chance to go for the hero's ideal, which order is the opposite of anarchy and power is the opposite of finesse, and each of those choices will affect your character and playstyle throughout the game. Now, as this is an RPG game, King's Bounty 2 does give you the occasional fetch quest, but the fetch quests were actually pretty good. They were in the direction I was going, I didn't really have to backtrack for them, and the rewards were pretty nice for doing something rather so simple. And because I quite enjoy the world, I did tend to find the time just to walk around and have a look at the scenery, maybe read a couple of scripts or scrolls that was lying around. And as mentioned earlier, the exploration, going into little nooks and crannies that I didn't quite see on my first journey there, or maybe wandering around I found a few extra caches, or potentially a hidden chest with lots of great loot inside. Of course, I've mentioned the world, I've mentioned the characters, but ultimately the main thing of this game is this is a RPG turn-based combat game. So if you're into the turn-based element and you enjoy the world, it's pretty much a perfect balance of good game. It might not be the most extravagant game or the most groundbreaking experience ever, but I really still enjoyed my brief time with King's Bounty 2. Now, if you've enjoyed my first impressions and you think this game is for you, then why not head over to the Steam store and check out the sale that is on right now for King's Bounty 2, part of the Halloween sale, of course. You can buy the Standard Edition, the Lord's Edition, or even the Duke's Edition, all at a discounted price. Maybe you're going to buy it now, maybe you're going to buy it later, entirely up to you, but chuck it in your wish list and let me know what you think in the comments section down below. And something as well just to mention, guys, to pretty much finalise the video, just want to mention how good the game ran. It ran with absolutely no hiccups whatsoever. Great features such as borderless window, which helps for me for recording, and it ran perfectly well with my 2080 Super and Ryzen 7 3700X. But ultimately that is going to be it for my first impressions. I feel like I've got a lot to learn yet regarding the combat, regarding my skill tree, and how to manipulate both of them together to make one cohesive battle unit to win all these tough battles. But honestly, I've had a great time with King's Bounty 2. Thank you to Koch Media again for providing the code, and thank you for you guys for watching as well. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of the game. Like and subscribe if you really enjoyed the video, and also consider hitting the notification bell to be alerted to every single DrAce upload and live stream. Thanks for watching, guys. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite sate your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.